Yeah, folks, Quilly18 here, and welcome to the start of a brand new RIMWORLD run. Although this world may seem familiar, before I get into the specifics about what makes this run special, let's talk about the world. I have once again generated a world with the seed of Quill18 with all the other settings default. So unless you're running a mod that modifies how the world is created, if you use the Quill18 seed and all the other default world creation settings, you should get the exact same planet. As I've been playing on recently, I kind of like the idea of having a familiar world that we revisit time and time again. This time I've decided to settle a little further north to get colder climate, but I still went and turned on the button to be able to see interesting features and points of interest. And that's how I found this spot over here. Now, I didn't know what to expect when I clicked it. You can see here, landmark is a alpine lake. Features include basin, a weapon stockpile, wet climate, oak tree grove. Mostly, I just wanted some interesting geography because I've got the live stream run, which is a really cool looking map where it's got an island in the middle of a lake. And I had a personal run going on in a desert with an oasis that was very satisfying. So I'm going to try to use more of these features and really get to see some cool landscape as much as possible. But I didn't actually know what to expect until we loaded into the map. And I was like, oh my God. Oh, this is so good, so enclosed, so easy to defend, two tiny little choke points to close off, although raids could spawn at either one of them. So unless I do a sort of connecting tunnel, we can't have like a single front line to expect, right? Because if I build like a defensive box over here, for example, and then we get attacked from there, it could be a thing. But there might be value then in going and digging a little tunnel to connect these two little sections, or in the back over here, to see if that we might be able to funnel people to one particular kill area. But this lake is super awesome, but I know that one of the things, and I actually haven't experienced this yet because I haven't settled on places like this, but I believe like mechanoid swarms can like spawn out of deep water. So we might get some little internal attacks later, which, who knows? It could be a lot of fun. Before I talk about my characters and the ideology, and wait, did you not get renamed? Oh, you did, but you kept your nickname. Hang on a second. If I just clear that out, it should default to Petra. Oh, defaulted the last name. So let me put in Petra instead. There we go. That's supposed to be Petra. My bad. What was I going to say? Before I was going to get to my people, was I going to talk about the ideology? I think that's what I was going to say. Anyway, let's go to our ideology over here. Got so distracted. We're playing as the Vita Dominion. The Vita Dominion holds that life is hierarchy defined by the potency of one's blood. All creatures radiate a measurable current of Vita authority, a metaphysical metric of significance, and the Stellarch, the ruler of well, it's not a star-spanning empire, actually, I realized. The Emperor is the ruler of a star-spanning empire. The Stellarch is just the local governor of this planet. Anyway, holds the highest concentration on the planet. Sanguophages are seen as natural absorbers of authority, meant to unify life under a single will. Petra is revered as a sanguine regent, already a monarch in potential. The Vitalists believe that when she consumes the Stellarch's Vita authority, she will undergo an apotheosis that binds the planet's destiny to her veins. Until that holy moment arrives, the Dominion disciplines itself through loyal service to the Empire, ritualized bloodletting, and anomalous rites designed to lure or capture the Imperial figurehead. All efforts lead to one inevitable conclusion, the coronation of Petra as the world's true and eternal ruler. We're going to go with a sort of a custom self-imposed victory condition over here. We're basically going to be pursuing the Imperial victory condition, right? We're going to get Petra to go up in the ranks, and then we're going to sort of start the endgame condition, which is to invite the Stellarch over, and then, you know, they'll take us off planet. Except what we're going to do is when the Stellarch arrives, we're going to capture them and turn them into a blood pet. Which will start a war with the Empire, presumably. I don't know if it, like, stops, like, so when you invite the Stellarch, it starts the end game condition of, like, the entire planet is going to start attacking you. I don't know if capturing the Stellarch causes that end game condition to end and fail, and then the infinite rates to stop. I don't know, but mostly we're just going to capture it, and then we're going to eat the Stellarch is the idea. Now, we might be able to get it even before doing the ritual win, or by doing the the sort of royalty ending pursuit, because we are going to be ritualists. We are going to be doing the ritual to try to like teleport people to us, and I think it does have a chance of grabbing the Stellarch. So we'll see if that happens as it. So yeah, we're going to run Supremacist over here because it sounds like the right kind of vibe. It's fine because it unlocks the shooting and melee specialists, which are pretty strong roles kind of later, but they turn off most work things, so we're probably not going to be using those specialists for a little while. Blood feeding makes a lot of sense that way. If our Sanguiphage, Petra, we'll look into her in just a second. If she goes and feeds from one of the colonists, they won't mind it. In fact, they'll think it's quite cool. And then the ritualist trait is actually kind of bad because it does force you to have slower research. And I'm not convinced that the bonuses are good, but I think it's the right vibe for this particular game. We did go with embodied theists. Gods walk the planet like us. And one of them is, of course, Petra herself. And the other one is Shin, the usurper. People talk about Shin as this important figure on this planet, and that challenges Petra's authority. Absolutely unacceptable. So our void study is very efficient. So we're going to be playing with some of the anomaly mechanics. And unfortunately, our research is slow. Womp womp. Blood feeders are revered. We've got the physical love is fine. It's physical rituals exalted. Execution is respected and if guilty. Everyone's got to wear shorts and pants. Cannibalism, totally fine. Apostasy, totally abhorrent. Most of these are standard. Well, we got corpses don't care, which makes sense. I think everything else here is pretty normal. Because we went with supremacy, the slavery had to be at least acceptable. I didn't want to go honorable because the slavery mechanics don't appeal to me for like 300 different reasons, right? So I'm like, well, we're just going to ignore it. Or can use acceptable. Sure, why not? 1 and 1 for the spooses and then keep their names. It's fine. Okay, our roles. Our leader is going to be the Sanguine Regent. We are going to be giving this role to Petra. We don't necessarily, we can do it early. We can do it not early. It doesn't really matter. It's honestly not a terribly important role. Probably the most useful part might just be the combat command out of it. This is not a very important role versus the moral guide, which in my opinion is the most important role with ideology, mostly because of the convert action. And we really want someone with high social for this. So this is going to be our Vitae Preceptor. And then we've got our Humanite Vanguards and Humanite Marksmen for our melee and shooting specialists. We've got a variety of rituals. We've got a couple of, okay, that is anytime. Good. Okay. We've got a couple of anytime Sky Lantern festivals to try to recruit people. And then I got 4 dance parties, which is on the first of each of the months. Buildings over here, our relics are the Thirsting Fang Persona Monosword, the Heart Flare Repeater, Unique Beam Repeater. And I would really like to pursue these on this run. I know I always say that. They do take a lot of time, but it would be nice to do. It might be a little hard because we are playing on Losing is Fun, the highest difficulty without customizing it. And then we've got a relic here, the Silver Chalice of Sovereignty. Everyone wants to wear button-down shirts because everyone wants to be kind of fancy, and I like button-down shirts, and it's a good way to get a mood boost. I actually didn't mess around with the appearance over here, so whatever was set by default or randomized is what we've got, and I think that's going to be okay. All right, let's talk about our 2 starting characters. We are starting with Petra over here. Now, I did re-roll until I got tough, and I wanted melee passion in there as well, because I want Petra as a Sanguiphage is already insanely tough. In fact, for all I know, tough is completely redundant. I'm not sure. Anyway, these are the Sanguiphage things. I'm looking to see if there's Fast Runner, which is great. There's strong melee damage. You're also aggressive. There's Robust over here. So increment damage is reduced by 75 or to 75%. I don't know if it stacks with tough or if it's just a better one that takes over, because this drops to 50%. In any case, tough is better than robust. So I figured, what the heck, we've got that. We got Optimist, which is wonderful, and Jealous, which is normally quite bad, because the problem is if you have more than one Jealous pawn, they both want the best bedroom, so they'll fight each other. Well, Petra is going to get the best bedroom because she's our leader and is going to get all the royal titles. So Jealous is not a bad trait at all. Kind of lucked out over there, which is great. We've got, the Ticket Intellectual, which is going to be great. Petra's going to be useful for the entire run thanks to that. Passion for mining, passion for plants is actually going to be really useful early on. I mean, I don't see Petra as being a farmer long-term, or at least that's, not how I'd visualize things, although in practice, maybe. She likes tending plants, maybe sort of a bit of an irony since she's undead and she likes to tend to life, perhaps. And then you have to start with one non-Sanguiphage. So we've got Sky Lorne over here, and I happen to randomly also roll tough. I was not hunting for this at all. The only thing I was hunting for is someone with at least a tick in social. Because while Petra naturally, as a sanguiphage, has a boost to social. I didn't really care whether she got passion or high skill in social, because the important thing is I really want to make sure we have a person, because I don't want Petra to be the moral guide, because she's going to be our leader. So I needed someone else who's going to be the moral guide, and that someone needs good social. I think that's very important in our runs with ideology, because we've got to convert people. We got someone who's like sick good at combat, and I think they both have a tick in mining, which I don't know how much is going to matter here, but we've got double passion construction, which is great. We're lacking on cooking. We do have plants, which is good. We're lacking on cooking, and we're lacking on a good crafter, which is certainly going to hurt us for a while. I also don't love that Sky can't intellectual, because it's a good time filler early on and kind of forever, but I think Sky's going to be fine and busy. I might have said Petra there, but Sky's the one without any ability to do intellectual, which is too bad. But yeah, we should be able to keep her hopefully busy. Ironically, like, planting is a pretty high workload thing, so I actually don't know how much research Petra is going to be able to do. We'll confirm the storyteller settings over in gameplay, modify. We are running random. We are playing on losing is fun, and we don't see it here, but anomaly should be enabled. Can I double check on... Oh yeah, there's anomaly over there. Although, I think I did set up... I don't think there's a monolith, right? If I go a search for a monolith... Yeah, I have anomaly events on, but without the monolith. And I think the frequency is a little lower by default. Whatever is what was it over here? Again, if we look at custom and then set it to losing is fun. Yeah, I think by default the anomaly threats might be 30% when you're playing with the full anomaly stuff turned on, and then it goes higher when you activate the monolith. I'm fine with this lower. We might play around with this a little bit as we go. But yeah, so we'll just play on the default losing is fun, which is what we're looking at over there. And we'll see, because of our ideology, because of rituals, because of the void study, very efficient, we really do want to be studying anomalies. So we might go and ramp that up. And yeah, we are playing, unfortunately, with the slow research, which is going to hurt. But what a great base we've got going on here. So let's figure out where we're going to go. First, I'm going to take a look at we don't have any rich soil. There's some over there. But that's it. So yeah, farming's never going to be ultra strong. I mean, it's fine. We have normal rich soil over here, right? 100% fertility is fine. We just don't have the super rich stuff, which is okay. I'll probably set up a few early farms over here. We're going to have to feed ourselves. I mean, Petra does still need food, right? We still have a food need despite the whole hemogen thing. So let's go and set up a growing zone here. Yeah, sure, 10 by 10, 100 tiles, which, again, as sort of a bit of a rule of thumb, now, it depends on your plant skill, the richness of your terrain, but also like your seasonality, your growth periods. A lot of times people say about 20 tiles of growing per pawn. So with 100 here, we could feed 5, but we do have a slightly reduced growing period. You know what? I think it's going to be fine. We'll accumulate some food, but hopefully we'll get some early joiners. With only 2 pawns over here, we should get even random events to have a joiner. So we'll go and set up the rice. For some reason I couldn't see it over there, and then I will immediately go and set up another couple of zones, one for heel root and one for cotton. We don't have the skill yet, that's fine. I'm going to disable the sowing regardless. I really want to make sure the rice is getting grown. Cotton, and I'm going to turn off that sowing as well. So we'll just focus on the rice first, and then at some point we'll go and unlock the others. Is there even walls here? No, it's just ancient concrete. But you know, it might be a great place for us to build our very first structure. I don't know if we spawned in with any material. No forbidden things found, but I was going to say as they drop, yeah, we're going to get lots actually. So we do start with some wood right away. Can these be, okay, at least these can be deconstructed. Oh, we've got to talk about mods at some point as well. I'm not running anything that changes gameplay in any dramatic way. Oh, that's got to be deconstructed first. Well, you know what? I can ignore the corners first here. So let's do 11 by 11 by 11 by 11. So this is a 13 by 13 outer area. And this 11 distance between walls is the most you can do without a roof collapse. Although, of course, we could make the structure longer, but I'm going to go ahead and start with just this. Now, we are on 1.6, so we can't just do one mega container for everything forever, but this is going to be a decent start. Let's go and make a, where's a dumping stockpile? Right over here. And, I'm going to add, right, that's what I do. I'm going to put this as important. I'm going to add raw resources that aren't plants because we're fine with keeping things like steel and wood outdoors. Again, wood, yes, does decay, but not very quickly, so that's going to be fine. Oh, wow, we have the anima tree really close by. If we do get some people with some nature worship, we might go ahead and get them to do that. I don't know. So we got that, and we'll do a regular stockpile inside just to get things started. And I guess we'll queue up the 2 beds as well. In practice, getting the beds done first may in fact be more important than the walls. I think they get more of a debuff from sleeping on the ground, I think, than sleeping outside. So we may want to go and do that. Okay, this, that. Some basics. We got some muffalo we could hunt immediately, which is interesting. Oh, I should do the thing where, you know what? I'll leave the automatic home zoning for now, but I will try to trim it. But I will go and do the rebuild of structures as soon as possible. Okay. Let me talk about the mods fairly quickly here. There will be a link down in the doobly-doo to the mod list, which should have some convenient links to the workshop and everything. This is pretty much my standard mod set. This screen here may not actually reveal every single mod that we've got going on, but basically there shouldn't be anything that changes gameplay with one exception, which is the no authors mod. So sensible bed ownership, just easier ways to work the user interface for the bed stuff. Mostly xenotype randomizer is just something with character creation that doesn't matter. We didn't put it into any use. We've got some UI things with the rim hub. So when I select a person, they'll look a little bit different. Interaction bubbles, we get little speech pop-ups, which is great. Custom prisoner interactions just lets us queue up prisoner interactions, so we can do reduce resistance into convert into recruit without having me forget to click a button at some point. Haul mine chunks just means by default I have it configured that if a chunk is in my home area, like if we're mining out rocks over here and it leaves a rock chunk behind, it automatically gets tagged to be hauled, saving me some clicks. Useless filter is going to be useful when we're looking at stockpiles and various things like that. It just adds an extra couple of check marks there to save you some clicks for defining something to be useless, which is defined by default over here as 50% hit points or less, awful to poor for quality, tainted or biocoded. These are all things that are useless, which make it nice to just click one button to do all those filters at once. Allow tool and more orders, which I don't think we can see more orders in this, just gives me some extra box selection commands basically and saves some clicks. Doesn't do anything I couldn't do anyway. Same thing, like better workbench management, same thing. Saves a couple of clicks, doesn't give you anything you wouldn't be able to do regardless. Camera Plus lets us zoom out more, which is great for video making. Categorize build drop down, very handy to just make it a little bit easier to find things in your build lists. Color-coded mood is going to just change the little display of the characters up here. Same thing with color-coded or colorblind minerals, makes them a little bit more visible. Cut plants before building. You always want to cut down trees that are in the way of your construction, because if you don't mark them to be cut down, your constructor does it, and if your constructor doesn't have plat scale, it takes forever. So you always want to go and tag those things to be cut, so if an actual planter comes over and does it, that just clicks the button for you. A little level pop-up, that's it. Mood alerts, extra little pop-ups over on the right. Quality builder won't really be used early on, but it lets us queue up a job where if a bed, say, comes out poor quality, it immediately queues up the deconstruct job, and then when deconstruct happened, it queues up another job to build it again. It just saves you some clicks for the sort of thing you want to do when you want to reach a minimum quality for something. And then Twitch chat we will not be using on this run, but this normally does automatic naming of people, and it should be, oh, it is actually currently connected. You know what? I should probably go and disable that outright. So let me go and do a quick little save over here, do this, go into the mods list, and turn off Twitch chat. We don't need the replantable anima trees, but that's mostly there for role-playing things. When we want to do a base, when I want to do a base that's got an anima tree in a particular location to look cool, I want the ability to move it around. It's not going to be relevant on this run, so I'm not bothering to turn it off. Because we've got an anima tree. I don't think I'll be moving it or doing anything like that. Okay, let's reload this bad boy. Load anyway. Bum, 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 bum. I forgot self-dying is in here. That might come up. We'll see. Self-dying just makes it so that if you've got a styling bench, people will automatically go and recolor their clothes to match either their preference or the ideology, depending on how you tap the tag set. And we might do that because I quite like it, because I like the idea of dyeing everyone's clothes the same color. But then whenever they replace like a duster because it's got too worn off, you got to go and remember to do it yourself. This just makes it so that the pawns autonomously want to do it. And I think that's quite cool, and we might use that. Again, it doesn't do anything you can't do on your own. The only thing that's changing anything is I am running the no authors mod because I think it's stupid and sucks, and we're going to talk about it probably later on. We will see. So Petra's doing that. Let's go and set our work priorities, firefighting, tops. Actually, in a sense, Petra doesn't want to do firefighting because Petra will be afraid of the of fire. We'll turn off bed rest, hall plus, childcare. Well, I'll put it on Sky because you do have the social preference. Everyone can basic. You will warden. Animal handling we can put on for everyone, which is if something gets tamed, we'll bring it. But we're not going to be doing taming right now. And yeah, no one can cook, which might be a little awkward. I don't know if Petra can get food poisoning, but Sky probably can. And that's less than ideal. You know what? I'm going to put the plant cut a little higher so these trees get cut down a little faster. And yeah, we don't really have crafters. Well, normal crafting's fine. Fishing we really won't need because we do have the plant growth stuff. No, we're going to have to figure out some... I think with the cook... Dang. I mean, I'll probably put it on Sky. But that is going to be rather rough. I almost wanted someone... I did roll someone who had, like, no tag skills. I think they might have had, like, shooting or something like that. But they were a fast learner, and I did consider running that as a secondary person. I like the idea of, okay, you're not naturally good in anything, but you're sort of a Renaissance pawn. You're a little good at everything. Do we start with a Masterwork Steel Longsword? That is very cool. Petra, go and equip that immediately, please. And yeah, we'll have to get a ranged weapon for Sky at some point. Maybe we'll make an early bow. I'm not sure. Let's do a... Haul things over here to move these chunks out of the way, please. We don't want those inside of the base. Petra is doing some hauling. I'm going to get you to prioritize. You are the constructor. Oh, no. Sky is the constructor. Right. I'm going to get you to prioritize work in the beds, please. There you go. Those trees have been cut down, and then you're automatically going to cut the trees within the growing area, too, which is good because we do need the wood, which is going up, Sky. I'm going to get you to work on the bed some more if you can. You might not have... Oh, you do have enough wood right now. Perfect. Okay, so we got the sleep spot. I guess we'll also think about getting an early table here. I usually just put it in the corner. You know what? I think that's fine. And then a pair of dining chairs. Actually, not there. We're going to do a chair here and a chair here because then we can have a chess table in the corner and they will be able to play with it that way. And I often forget to get the horseshoe pin down early, so let's go and get that now, sort of a little bit out of the way. And we'll have some recreation objects ready to go. All right, construction is a go. We're still doing that. We're delaying the first planting, but we've got a lot of... these goddamn birds are stealing our meals. Melee attack the crow. You ate one of our meals. And then there's another crow eating... Oh, maybe not, but we'll put a high priority hall. We'll get this indoors. I don't know if they eat anything else, but yeah, let's get those guys in there. So high priority hall is just part of the allow tool mod, and it's exactly the same as I can right click on someone and tell them to prioritize hauling. But that's annoying to do one at a time. So I much prefer to bulk select and then hit haul urgently, which does have this extra little labor over here, but it's perfect. So I keep haul as a lower priority normally, and then I have this haul plus. And again, it's exactly the same as right click on a thing and telling it to haul right now, but what a pain in the butt that I don't normally want to do. All right, so normally at this point of the game, there's a few different things I would do. First of all, we're going to go and manage our apparel policies. I like to rename this one to default, even though you can change the default one now. But I like to be very clear this is the default policy. And what I normally would do, and you know, I might still do it for the example here, is I'm going to tell them take off anything once it hits 51% hit points. I don't care about the quality here. Don't wear anything tainted, though. And then the biocoded doesn't matter. It's either biocoded to them, in which case they can wear it, or it's not biocoded, in which case they can't wear it. So we'll go ahead and do that. That's quite nice. I could go and turn off some other things, but I think for now, this is going to be okay. So we'll do that. Our food policy, again, I will name this one to default to make it quite clear what's going on. And I want to turn off all raw food. I would love to turn off baby food for the adults so they don't randomly eat it, but then if I do that, the kids never eat it, which is no good. We'll turn off kibble as well, and hay, don't eat that for any reason, and don't eat any corpses directly, please, because we want to make sure those get cooked. Our drug policy, so we'll turn our default one, we will call to default, and we are going to, you can have it for an addiction, but otherwise that is turned off for everyone, because this includes people who are randomly around, like some Imperial people who tend to have like anti-drug policies, and then they get pissed off if they have something. And then this 1 drink per day is what I'm going to call the adult policy. And so with that, I'd like to turn on the beer, the smoke leaf, and the psychite tea. It's weird. I guess you don't need the for addiction if the rest of it is turned on, possibly. I don't know. Tell you what, I'll explicitly turn them on. Don't carry beer with you, but do carry a psychite tea. I'm going to set all these to every 2 days because I think more than that, maybe it doesn't apply to the beer the same way, but more than that can lead to a higher like overdose chance and maybe addiction, something like that. All of these have, I think, a 2% addiction chance, no matter how like infrequently you have it. But it's low enough. And with this, they can't OD at any point, which is good. But I will have it so that they only start to consume this if their mood gets lower. I used to do smoke leaf all the time, but smoke leaf does have a consciousness penalty, which I don't like. So for both of these, I'm going to say only go for these if your mood is below 30%. But the psychite tea you can have a little bit sooner. And then these two are adults, so I'm going to go and tell them that. Petra has psychite dependency? Wait, okay, I did notice you were gray. So you are a Wastelander as your base Xeno. So you do start with a psychite dependency. Well, that's going to complicate things slightly. Let's go and make sure we start growing some psychite immediately. Another growing zone. Now, psychite has very low fertility sensitivity, but I think I'll probably still use the somewhat richer terrain because it still benefits. I think only 40%. So it's like less painful if you're building it on a less good area, but it's still, not ideal. A lot of times my idea is let's not waste the really rich soil on psychite, but I don't think I want to punish it if I don't have to. So we'll put some psychoid plant there, and I think we'll probably want a little bit more of that. So I will get, okay, that's kind of annoying me that it's in the way. We're gonna have to do some smashing to move this stuff. But if we do that, I think that's aligned that way. This is quite a lot of psychite. More than we need, but we could also sell it for money, which would be okay. So we'll get that, and I'm not going to turn off the sowing on those because we're going to need it. And then research-wise, we're going to make sure we research psychoid brewing. Immediately is kind of insane, but I don't think we spawned. Sometimes people who start with a dependency do spawn with some, but I don't see any of that over here, so that's not great. All right, Sky, you're going to finish your construction, and at some point you will start to do some hauling. And you can't, that's the thing. Petra's going to spend a lot of time researching. Sky's going to be doing a lot of the busy work, which is totally okay. Petra going for a swim. Oh, let's work the schedule. Now, Petra, yeah, sunlight sensitivity is built in. So we kind of want to give you a nighttime schedule regardless. Now, here's okay, so 10 o'clock to 1800 hours over here. I know I'm sort of missing it. 1000 hours. But anyway, this is the night owl period where they're not happy to be up. Petra, like the sun might be up outside of that. So, what is the ideal one? I'm not sure. But I'll go and do this because that will be our night owl schedule. Now, Sky, because she's not a night owl, probably gets a slight penalty to being in the darkness and moves slower outside. So we might want her on a somewhat inverted schedule from Petra. For good or for ill, I mean, if there's tasks that they would both do, then they'll alternate, which is kind of neat. Yeah. And then I like doing this, like go to bed here, sort of a set time, so you're sort of in sync with anyone. But no, I'm not going to force it if you're fully rested in the other periods over here. It's worth noting with recreation, if they do fill up their recreation meter, then they will just treat it as an anytime period, so they'll work or eat or whatever the heck, There you go. Hauling is happening. Petra is playing some chess right now. It is the recreation period, but there you go. Your recreation is full, so now you're going back to work over here. Lovely. And then I was going to say, Sky, could I can't right click on this to construct it. Are you already queuing it up? I can tell Petra to prioritize delivering to wooden wall. But you can't tell, but I'm right clicking over here. Why can't Sky, who's definitely on construction, although why is that in pink? Learn Max today. I wonder, is there any chance this is interacting properly with like one of my mods? I mean, you built everything else. Hold on. If I tell you to build a random wall here, you'll do that. You just won't do this one. Is it because there's a plant in the way? Yeah. But the plant wasn't marked for chop. I'm really confused. And that might be a mod interaction, but... Huh. I don't know. We might want prisoner space fairly soon. Let's keep this Chuchin. Anything else I want to rush immediately for production? Well, I may as well build the butcher's table so that if something is available, we will butcher it quickly. We'll put it outside because it's dirty. Do we want to get some power down quite quickly? No, I think I'll just go for a fueled stove. Normally I just do a campfire early. Maybe I'll still go a campfire early. And then I go for the electric stove. Oh, that's probably under temperature, right? Yes, campfire over here. I'm going to put it right here next to the door. And then we want to put a little roof over the campfire so it doesn't blow out too quickly. And then I'll put a roof here so if someone's working at the butcher's table, they're not going to get wet. We'll get that going so we can do a little bit of food. And then Petra can probably go and like melee a flow out. This whole swarm might aggro, which would be bad. And at some point, we do want to haul this in because it is decaying outside. Not super ultra fast, but it is decaying, and that's less than ideal. Do I have a mod that's letting me deconstruct these? I don't think so. I know at some point they went and did go and allow more deconstruction of more stuff, but not all the stuff. There's still plenty of stuff like these cars here that you can't deconstruct for some reason, which still annoys me to the max, but at least these can be deconstructed. Let's get that one out of the way as well. Although Petra is going to be focusing on the crop stuff right now. And actually, let me bring the plant cut down to a 2. Because you've cut down enough of these trees right now. Focus on planting in the places that you can, and then when you run out of places to plant, you will go and chop down more trees. And yes, I know we need a research bench. That's fine. We'll also need some light in there. What's the temperature? 6 degrees. I think it will get warmer in the summer. If I go back over, click here, terrain. Yeah, it will get warmer in the summer, but it's definitely not right now. I'll put the campfire indoors because it does generate light and heat, right? There, I'll offset it 1 tile. So I can still put a little torch in this place. But Sky, prioritize working this campfire. We can always open the doors if it gets too hot inside as well, to allow a little bit of venting. And then we're going to put a bill in here, which is going to be cook simple meals. And then a 1x over here. Do until X, where X is just 1. Like, make sure there's at least one of these sitting around, please. Assuming we have any material for it. And we do. Apparently we did chop some berries that were in the way, which is great. So Sky's going to go and cook one of those, which will save us some of our packaged survival meals, which is great. In fact, I wonder if I want to do more berry picking. What I could do, I got to find one berry bush, which I could do a search for. I don't want to do the whole map. So like, there's a berry bush there. And I want fairly close to our base. So I double click here. Oh, there's not very many berry bushes. All right. A few more berries might be good, just while we're waiting for the rice to come up. We could do a little bit of fishing as well. What kind of fish is in here? Bass. Ooh, very nice. And I had a desert run with an oasis, but it was guppies, and the guppies are worth, like, no nutrition at all. Like, I think each guppy was worth 1 nutrition, which is, like, okay, so I need to fish how many of them to start making meals? Jeeps. But the bass should be okay, although we don't... Now, you have high hunting. Is it because of your shooting skill, or do you actually have animal skill? You don't. Okay. Oh, there. I can look by fishing yet. No one's got any animal passion, so the fishing's only going to be kind of meh. Why isn't anyone wearing anything? Okay, they're on outfit default. Oh, I did this the wrong way around. Let's try that. Yeah, I was telling them to only wear tattered apparel, as opposed to don't wear tattered apparel. Oh, we've got the butcher's table set up. Let's set up our bill, butcher forever. We can include human-like in that. That's perfectly fine. We might even do the entities later, but for now, that's going to be okay. And there you go. Clothing is happening. Whoopsie daisy. My bad. Butcher the bird because we can, although I don't know there's going to be enough meat in there. We can make 1 simple meal out of it, so it's not too shabby. There you go. It's daytime. Actually, Petra could have gone to bed earlier, but there we are. And then we can go, let me go and bring down, so only refill your hemogen a little bit lower, because we might be looking for some bites. It'll make Sky a little bit woozy for a bit, but that's okay. There we go. Some hauling is happening, which is great. It's quite roasty toasty inside. What I'm going to do is open all these doors. Or, you know what? Let me not open all of them. I'm going to hold open this one, which is going to be enough to vent a little. And then if there's an attack, like when an animal goes crazy, we can just defend in this little area, although we'll do the other side relatively soon. And yeah, there's not really any point in fencing off this entire area right now because we won't really have any control over where things goes. And I love that this is a weapons cache. We're definitely going to be interested in seeing that. I don't know if we've got a danger zone on this map. Maybe we can find one when we dig through some of the mountains. I don't know. This grizzly bear is a little terrifying. I think Petra can probably go and handle it, especially with like the super vampire powers. That was Petra, sorry. Yeah, I don't love that Sky doesn't have a weapon. Petra, what I'm going to do, instead of a runaway behavior, I'm going to tell you to just attack back. If anything goes and threatens you, just eat it. Just eat it. I was going to say, hey, it sounds like a Michael Jackson song. And then I realized it's literally a Weird Al song. That and I'm Fat, right? He did 2 of those with Michael Jackson. Did he do other Michael Jackson? He didn't do a Thriller one, did he? Although it feels like that would be a natural thing. I remember, I love Weird Al. Weird Al, it was one of the very first cassette tapes I ever bought. When I got myself a little ghetto blaster. It was the... I don't remember what the album was called, but it was the one that riffs on the Nirvana album with like the baby. Was it called Nevermind, the Nirvana one with the swimming baby? Except it's swimming Weird Al. Anyway, that one. Need defense, research bench. I don't know why it like sort of paused for a sec. Like it went to the no accelerate. Should be okay. But yeah, I should probably go and put a little wall. No, we don't need it. As long as we got a little trap. So maybe we'll work on that. Tell you what, let me move these little chunks out of the way. Let me chop that tree down, please. And let me build the tiniest little trap hallway. Like so. I'll get another door here. And then under security... spike traps here, here, here. And then what we want is some little fence to force them onto the spike trap. And I want a double fence here. And then this door can also be left open. And in fact, maybe I want to close this one. Even though it's better for speed, I really want any attacks to come this way so they walk through the traps. Yeah, all right. And then, oh, just to prevent any trees from growing in this area, let's go and build a roof. Because it'll stop trees from growing over here. And potentially messing up our little plans that we've got going on. So there you go. We got a little bit of food, a little bit of basic comfort, and a little bit of defense. So, and we're 37 minutes into this episode. So this is probably a decent enough place to wrap up. Wow, we're actually getting to the point of doing some cleaning. Oh, because what we need is a research bench, because otherwise Petra would be researching right now. So that's really the next thing to set up. In fact, I'm going to go and set up 2 immediately. Right, they're not in the laboratory, which is fine. I kind of may want to isolate. I don't know if there's like a easier way, not with this, to not block a door. Do that, and it needs that. I mean, we can do some pretty tricky things to get the laboratory to work in a way we satisfied. Maybe do I just start another room immediately for this? Actually, I think I do. Because we're going to want to split this in half to do a workshop. And that's a little easier to fit in. Yeah, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and... make a workshop over here. Boom. Boom. And then the walls will go here. You can walk through the workshop. It looks a little silly, but you can walk through the workshop, so we'll call that good enough. So we'll fill this in. I'll fill in that corner. These corners I leave out because you don't need them, and you could leave them out forever, but let's all admit it looks a little silly and stupid, so let's not do that. Let's do this. This door can be left open. Because it's all going to be the same internal space, which is going to be okay. Temperature is good now, 22 in here. No one's going to be too hot and sweaty, which is great. And let's go and chop that. And actually what I'll do, because it'll sort of reinforce this, is I'm going to encourage the build roof immediately, because it will go and prompt even more plant clearing as that gets done. Good. And then you'll need a light in there. And yeah, we'll get some power. Actually, we've got enough wood over here. A lot of times I don't do the wood fire generator. I don't think they have to be... I think they have to be roofed. I don't think so. But I guess to be careful is I can go and do this. And yeah, we'll go to some power earlier, so that's going to be okay. I'm going to say don't refill this with more fire. Let it go out when it goes out. That's going to be okay. And I like to use the hidden conduits everywhere because they can't zot, and it always looks better. Like, it's fine if you run a conduit under a wall, but then if the walls move later and you get these conduits that are exposed, that look ugly for both the player and the pawns. There was a mod a long time ago that made it so that, like, this is before we had hidden conduits, that made it so that power conduits under constructed floors were invisible, just like they are under the walls. And I loved that. I thought that was actually the right solution. But the hidden conduits are also fine. It takes 2 metal instead of 1, takes a little bit more construction time, but that's okay. All right, so I think that's going to be the initial plan. And yeah, I think I did turn off the hold open over here, right? Yes, so eventually someone will go and close that door. I can always force it if the issue comes up. And yeah, I'm sure that eventually we're going to go and block off these 2 little choke points and then use one of them as our funnel the enemies into that kind of zone. I mean, I suppose I could leave both kind of open and put some like barriers behind it, because usually we're only going to attack one place, so we just move to defend whichever one that is. But for the raids that come up split, that could be really awkward. Now, just because I have a tunnel that like links these 2 areas together doesn't mean they'll do that. They might still go and smash through those walls, but that's the case on any base, right? You build you got a big area that's open, you just build all these walls. Sometimes people will breach raid and do different things. And even some non-breach raids will decide to smash some walls, depending on distance and visibility. But I think that's probably still the right approach. We've got 3 geothermals, 4 there, and then because I noticed the 5th here, I'm like, oh, that might be awkward to get within our actual defensive area. And this is naturally a little bit more open for a kill zone, but that would mean that the Steam guys would sort of be in on that. Maybe not. Maybe we could build around it. But like maybe this becomes the more natural kill box. Build the little choke point in here, our little defensive wall over here, and then just shoot that. That seems... maybe that is fine. And then we close this up completely. I kind of don't hate that, but that's kind of further away. Anyway, I hope you're as excited about this new Let's Play as I am. I still love RimWorld. This is going to be an interesting, different challenge. And yes, our victory condition is going to, for most of the game, feel exactly like we're going for the royalty victory condition. And then we're going to eat the Stellarch, or, you know, keep them as a blood doll of some kind. Who knows? We might just kill them. No idea how that's going to play out. Thanks for watching, folks. Hey, if you are new to the channel, of course, subscribe. It would be silly not to. And dropping a like and a comment is always good for the algorithm. I appreciate you. See you next time. Bye-bye.